What's shakin', Reject Nation? Happy Christmas Eve. It is I, Admiral Humpo here. That did not work. That Star Wars reference to a not very beloved character did not work. But we're chugging right along. Hope you guys are doing well. Gregory is out of town, and you know what they say, when Greg's away, the John will continue to make videos. But yeah, there's this Star Wars fan film that's been floating around the interwebs. It is called Vader, Episode 1. I'm pretty excited. As you all know, I am the resident Star Wars expert here on The Real Rejects. I've seen all the movies, read all the books. I know all the TV shows like the back of my hand. It's definitely my favorite thing in this life. No, but in all honesty, I mean, I'm not the world's greatest Star Wars fan, full disclosure, but I do appreciate Star Wars. I do like and enjoy some Star Wars in my life. It's not my favorite thing, but especially this side of it, I find very fascinating. I like the idea of fan theories and fan films. I mean, not when they get so rampant that people are like goring each other over them, driving people off of social media and stuff, but just the general speculation, you know, like the world is so big, that's kind of fascinating. So I am excited to check this video out, see what it's all about. It's also cool to see Star Wars theory jump from, you know, theory-based videos to something more narrative. And before we hop into this video, I want to give a quick shout out to everyone who's joined us on Patreon. Really appreciate you guys. We got tons of cool stuff over there, including weekly Q&As. I do music video coverage now. Also, we have TV show reactions, full-length watch-alongs for shows such as My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Gotham, Riverdale, Supernatural. It's a really fun time. We got a lot of cool stuff over there, a lot of great people. Would love it if you came over there and checked us out. And also, Patron of the Day shout out for Adelia Chamberlain at the end of this video. But for right now, people, let's get some Star Wars in our lives. Let's get a Force ghost of Christmas yet to come going on in our I'm gonna stop rambling now. Here we go. Ooh, that's a cool logo. From my understanding, this video is unmonetized, as per Lucasfilm's wishes. Anakin Skywalker is dead. For 8 months, the mysterious Darth Vader has enforced the Emperor's commands. For some, the Empire brings fear. For others, it brings hope. But for Vader, it brings nothing but suffering. Heh.
I will not be denied.
Whoa. Whoa. Oh. Shot in a smart sort of way. Oh, Force choke.
Now you will answer for your treachery.
Ah. Get used to the dangly feet, man. Whoa. Whoa. Damn. Very smartly shot. Damn, that's cool. Whoa. This is pretty badass.
There is no escape.
Oh! I'm losing a little track of how many people are being.
Suffer for your deceit. Answer for your failure to save her.
Oh! Oh!
I destroy your enemies. Forge for you an empire. You have taken everything.
Everything. Foolish boy. You gleefully did wife of an insolent. Your precious Padme's fate was your choice. Just as your
Sidious.
fate is mine.
Ugh. Whoa! Is that like a Praetorian guard? Such a cool costume. Ooh. Ah! This poor guy in the middle. Whoa. It's a cool reversal.
Kitty, how much grander and more powerful you could have still become if you had had the temerity to embrace the path set before you.
This is impressive, man. Darth battle. Oh, tearing up the floor with the Force. The dark side. Whoa! I like all these close-ups on his specs. For a second, I thought it was like a drink, but it's his lightsaber. Hey, buddy, you want to watch Star Wars too? I know you like Star Wars. What?
I made this for you, so you'll remember me.
Aww.
It will bring you good fortune.
It's beautiful. I don't need this to remember you by. My caring
He has
for
a
you will
soul.
always remain.
I wonder how many people are clamoring in the comments about their
Anakin.
appreciation of this Anakin over the actual. Whoa! What a match. I mean, not like it's dead on, but I'm now sitting here going, do they CG her face a little bit, or is that just to look a good match? Oh, I like to see this side of Darth Vader.
And that
Is why you'll never
Oh!
defeat me.
Ugh! Ah, creepy old perv over here.
Forever shall you remain weaker than I. Always the servant, always the slave, yet Skywalker.
Oh, man. It's good. For a second, they made me forget about his villainy. Lord Vader. Whoa. Damn.
My lord,
Proceed.
the Emperor demands your presence at once.
This is so cool. This is really cool.
Vader,
As he wishes.
Whoa. Wow. Yeah, get that transition in there. That old Star Wars Fate Iris. Oh, buddy.
Gods, leave us.
What is thy bidding, my master?
You are distressed, my friend.
I am fine, my master.
You know what fine means, don't you?
Are you now?
Freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and
Your
emotional.
anger radiates like a whirlwind, yet unfocused. No,
No.
not unfocused. Hidden.
Ooh.
You are trying to hide your rage from me. Why? Ah, I
I don't think I would like hanging out with Darth
What is your
Sidious
hesitation,
either.
Lord Vader? Give in to your anger. Strike me down.
I have no such wish, Master.
Oh.
Pathetic. A mighty Sith Lord crippled by melancholy and indecision. All due to the attachments of a Jedi.
There is no attachment. Anakin Skywalker was weak. I destroyed him.
Did you? Yet Skywalker's powers dwarfed yours, did they not?
Uh-oh.
No. Rise, Lord Vader. It is the way of the Sith to destroy all who stand in our way to power. To eliminate our rivals, is it not? Who stands
Pretty
in your
comprehensive
way,
plan.
Lord Vader? Who holds you back? Keeps you subjected and decrepit within that armor. Anyone? If so, only your hate will eradicate you. Use it.
Start a metal band.
I cannot, my master.
Whoa.
That is why my disappointment with you grows by the second. Embrace the choices that have brought you.
Condescending guy.
Revel or forever live in the shadow of Anakin Skywalker.
Skywalker.
Now, I have a task for you, my young apprentice. There's a great disturbance in the Force.
Uh-oh.
A powerful Jedi survives in the mid-ring.
Mm-mm.
He must pay the price for his betrayal.
As you wish.
He hides on my home planet of Naboo.
Wesley. Naboo.
Of course, that of the late Queen Padme Amidala. It is no
Oh.
coincidence. It brought you she knows who you are, Lord Vader. The clothes that report he wields an amethyst blade.
Amethyst blade, huh?
How is that possible?
Power.
Power.
That's how.
No one man should have all
You
that
and I
power.
both know this particular Jedi wields a great deal of it.
I will finish what we started, Master.
Will you? I wonder. Eliminate this Jedi. Pledge yourself to the dark side fully, Lord Vader. Relish in the gifts it bestows upon you. Only then will you be able to cast off the chains that bind you and achieve a power as never before. Only then will you be able to destroy the rival before you.
Then I will not fail, Master.
Right, you won't fail. Ooh. Oh, cool. Wow.
Commander, prepare my personal shuttle. I seem to be afflicted by a sudden tinge of
Not a toy.
nostalgia to visit my beloved Naboo.
Of course you do. See? I love this weird, like, messed up trainer mentality we got going on here between the two of them. Don't eat my hair. Don't eat your hair. Naboo! Oh, a neighboring planet's close by. This is beautiful too. I'm just wondering, like, how they sourced all this, or if they really shot all these things on locations and whatnot. Like,
Welcome, Lord Vader. The Jedi's barricaded himself in the catacombs and sealed off all of the entrances. It's ready to blow our way in. But now of all the troopers we've sent in, none have returned.
Lost
Oh, man.
troopers do not concern me, Commander.
y'all have
Once
terrible
that
aim,
Jedi, I
Commander.
will use the 501st.
As you wish, sir.
Do you know how many of you die in a day, Commander? Anakin the mannequin. Go, Dean! Whoa! Missed that hole there. Oh! Good use of a beat. Good. Ah! That's good. You leave them wanting more. Danny Ramirez. Hats off. Written by Danny Ramirez, Star Wars Theory. Interesting. Not bad, man. That was thrilling. I really dug that. And actually, I mean, you know, given the state of Star Wars and just given my thoughts on Star Wars in general, I was actually especially enthralled by this, and I'm pleasantly surprised by that. Gonna stay here in case there's a post-credit scene. I'm gonna skim. I'm just gonna check. You know, not to slight all the people involved, you know, but you know, I just want to make sure. Damn, it's got like real movie credits and everything. Oh man, not bad. And the music too. Oh, this is pretty sweet. I gotta give it to you. This is pretty rad. Alright, man. I feel bad if you want to catch the rest of those credits. Find the video. I just figured this video is already long enough, and it's hard enough to get people to stick around to the end. So, yeah, if you want to see the rest of, you know, all the people who put their hard work into this, by all means, please go subscribe to Star Wars Theory. Go give this video some love. But I thought this was really cool. Like I said, I am not the world's biggest Star Wars fan, but I definitely appreciate some Star Wars, and I feel like the series is in an interesting place at the moment in terms of just the official canonical movies and stuff like that. A lot of conflict, and, you know, there's some ugliness that arises from fandom when these things happen. Sometimes it's just an aspect. But this is one of the things I love the most about fandom, is when fandom gets creative. And just off the bat, man, hats off to everybody who worked on this, because this is probably one of the best looking, best feeling, most kind of well-constructed fan films that I have seen in quite some time. And from what I understand, whoever runs Star Wars Theory ponied up, you know, like $100 grand to make this, I guess, according to the rules set forth by Lucasfilm, or you know, the rules for fan films in general. You can't crowdfund, and you can't have monetization on the video. So yeah, I mean, that right there is a huge display of passion for Star Wars and also for this project. And this is the point where I start to think, like, you know, if you get the right fan, you know, some of the fan input could be pretty good for the series, because I thought this was a really cool take and a really cool idea in general, doing a sort of what happens to Vader between the prequels and the original films, you know. And I don't have the greatest recollection of the prequels, but I like having Vader in this transitional place, you know, where he is clearly, you know, a lot further along his dark side path than young Anakin was, but still struggling with the remnants and the emotions. And I like that idea that, from what I know about the Force and, you know, the light side versus the dark side, the dark side is supposed to be the more emotionally driven side, and I like that there's a conflict even centered around that, where you have Darth Sidious kind of encouraging to give in to his rage and his hatred and things like that, and him struggling with these echoes from the past of Padme and his love and things like that. And I thought the opening action scene was so badass. And I sat here wondering, because this reminded me of the scene at the end of Rogue One, which that movie kind of felt thrown in there, but at the same time I was like, I'm not complaining about that. This is a pretty badass scene, and also, you know, it's related to the overall situation. But I sat here during this wondering, like, do they repurpose shots from the movies and stuff like that? And from all I can gather, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is all original. And the thing is, I was sitting here watching this, and they don't have Star Wars money to make this film, and it shows in certain places, but I think they shot this really smartly. Their choice of angles, it's like when you go back, you can kind of tell that they're probably masking a small set and not a whole lot of resources, but I thought that the way that they shot it and the way that they used everything at their disposal really made this feel like a palpable Star Wars movie, you know? And I thought the fight just in and of itself was cool, especially when he blocks all the blaster rays and then sends them right back, you know, kind of like a crazier version of what we've seen Kylo Ren do lately. And yeah, just having this debate go on between Sidious and Darth Vader, because they're very different entities, even though they're technically on the same side. And props to the Sidious guy, just that voice, you know. Oh, no, the dark side. Taking this from Darth Vader's perspective and seeing that while, yeah, it's funny, you're watching this and you're like, all of our protagonists are evil. But they kind of trick you into sort of rooting for Darth Vader and wanting to see him progress on his journey, you know, become more fully realized, and also to clap back at Sidious, because Sidious is kind of a dick. And I thought it was cool to get that little mislead there with Padme and young Anakin, little flashback Anakin there. Just a sidebar. I like the kid who played young Anakin for like the half a second he was in here. I mean, I feel bad for the actual actor, and I know that people haven't been too kind, and I know his life hasn't been great since making these movies, but that stuck out to me. And I like the little Padme sequence. I thought the actress they got was like a good blend of being like a good match for some of Natalie Portman's facial features, while also, you know, not being just like a look-alike or looking distractingly like her. Thought that was good casting there. And yeah, that mislead when it turns back into Sidious, as you know, I guess you could see that coming, but even still, I thought that was a cool little moment there, because it's just nice to get this side. I like seeing Darth Vader with some conflict and with some struggle, because I'm just used to seeing him being this all-powerful villain for the most part. And it's funny, it's like we got 3 movies about the rise of Darth Vader, and yet I have already found this, at least in these few minutes here, more kind of rollicking and thrilling and engaging. And then I love this transition to where he wakes up and it's ostensibly a dream, and he's in the suspended animation state, you know, with just his torso body. I love the look of this. And then he steps in and has the actual conversation with Sidious. I found this relationship, the portrayal of their relationship, very fascinating, because it is volatile, and you have Sidious pushing him and egging him so much, you know, kind of urging him. He's like, hey man, if you want, strike me down.
Come at me, bro! Come on!
Vader plays it cool. And I don't know, I just, yeah, seeing that's the main takeaway I got from this, was just seeing Vader from this perspective, sort of at the rise toward what will eventually become the Star Wars that we all got acquainted with. I think is clever and is cool. And it's cool to see him, yeah, in this transitional space where it's not about how he turned to the dark side, but now it's about how he is solidifying his place in the dark side and rising to the state that we'll find him in when he becomes, you know, the Vader from Star Wars full on. And hey man, I'll go on record and say that I like The Last Jedi. Since I've seen it, there are certain elements of it that I don't love as much as others, but I do appreciate the way that that movie bothered to kind of go outside of what I know to be the Star Wars box in a way that Force Awakens didn't. Not to say that I didn't like Force Awakens either, but, you know, I just appreciate when people bring new things to stuff that's so well worn. And that's the thing about, you know, as much as we argue back and forth about fandom and toxic fandom and how the landscape has changed, this is my favorite thing about fandom, or one of, is the creative side. Because just watching this, yeah, this is very professional, or at least it comes across very professional, but it also comes across very passionate and very knowing, in a way where during my viewing experience, I was just sort of like, yeah, this just feels like another part of the Star Wars universe, and that's really cool to me. When people who are so dedicated to something and who love it, you know, to the point that they know it inside and out, can then contribute to it, because that's the magic of that's the true magic of art. I mean, like, there are rights and laws and copyrights and things like that, but like, truly, you know, everyone, as the great Jack White says, you know, everyone creating is a member of the family, and this is the celebratory side of fandom that I really appreciate, especially when it gets this creative and when it turns out this well. Now, the effects were really good for most part too. I mean, especially when you cut out into space later on, and the ships when he's going to Naboo to find this rogue Jedi. And yeah, man, just the sets they got, just the look of everything, and that last moment, man, I think I was a little enthralled by all the stuff that was going on in that last moment. But when the lights up, the amethyst blade or whatever they say, the other lightsaber lights up, and then Vader turns on his lightsaber. Like, that was just such a cool moment and a great cliffhanger to make me really want to get into the next installment of this. From what I understand, this is supposed to be like a 5 or 6 part series. So at least from where I'm standing, man, hats off for this, because it had appropriately Star Wars-y familiar elements, especially like with the title cards in the beginning. It highlighted the designs, you know, that were definitely in tune with the overall universe as I know it anyway. And I liked the relationship they had between Darth Vader and his really messed up, kind of horrible mentor here. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to see more of this, and I gotta say, this is the kind of stuff that excites me for Star Wars. It's like, I like the new movies. I do think that there is a certain amount of familiarity that is being pumped into them. You know, it's like my favorite stuff about recent Star Wars is usually when they branch out and they do something different. This kind of still imbued with the spirit of Star Wars, and that can be a hit or miss process. But I like when they try to tell new stories or stories from new perspectives within the Star Wars universe, rather than when they go, it's new characters, but it's kind of the same plot, you know? So I thought this was terrific. And honestly, for as much back and forth as there is about who's keeping the gate and who's doing what to Star Wars, and you know, you can't take everybody's input. But for the unique thing that Star Wars is, I feel like, to a degree anyway, the community is something to at least keep an eye on and kind of test the barometer of from time to time, because clearly, you know, like, this just came out of the Star Wars fan community, and this is of a certain quality level and of a certain level of conception and congruity with the rest of the story that, you know, I feel like the people making these movies at least owe it to themselves to keep an eye on all this stuff as well. Not to steal from it, but just to kind of get the vibe. Like, stuff like this is a different communication of the fan vibe to me. It's like, here's something that we would want to see so much that we made it, you know? But yeah, what did you guys think? Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. And before we wrap this video up, Adelia Chamberlain, want to give a shout out, patron of the day. How are you doing, my dear? I hope that you are feeling well towards the holidays right now. I wanted to shout you out on this video especially because I know how much you love Star Wars. I mean, I know that Star Wars is enough to get you to watch things that you never really would in general, and that got me thinking, man, I know you're a writer, I know you write a lot, and I feel like you could write a pretty badass Star Wars fan film. So, Adelia, well, all I want for Christmas, besides my 2 front teeth, is a Star Wars fan film, Chamberlain style. I want to see what you would do with it, which characters you would focus on, where you would take the story. Would you start with a totally new slate? Would you go something like this, where we're in between the events of the stories that we're familiar with? What would you do, Adelia? I want to hear your voice. Hit me up with the script. We will shoot it, not for as much money as this, because we are not that big an operation yet, but I'm sure we could make something where you go, you know, the production values kind of suck, but I get what they're going for. The ideas are good, so I'd like to see what these guys get, you know, like a little more money, you know. That's the kind of high praise I want to gain from Star Wars fans, and I think you are just the person to do that. So, Adelia, I hope you're doing well. Much love. Thank you, as always, just for being you, for chatting with us, for keeping us thoughtful, and we will talk to you soon. And as for the rest of you guys, hope y'all are doing well. Hope you're having a great holiday season. Whichever holiday you celebrate, or if you don't, I hope you're just enjoying life in secular society. But yeah, you can subscribe to the Reject Nation. Click that notification bell to get updated every time a review or a video is up. Follow us on the Stardust app. Check us out over there. Check us out on Patreon as well. If you love the channel, you want to help support, we very much appreciate you coming over there. Got a lot of fun stuff. And that's it for now, party people. Be well, and as always, cheers!